People come from all walks of life. They all have lives they lead. Any and all are welcome here to come and chat with me.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the show. Hey, listen, this is being taped. It's June 26th, and the current temperature, it's almost 6 p.m., is 41 degrees. So I hope everybody is surviving okay. That's not why I'm here, of course. Today's guest is, he's an author, he's a creative connector, and he's a dreamer. I have to make a comment about that part, the dreamer. Yeah, you've heard me before say this. If you're going to dream, dream big because it's free. There you go. Now, I'd like to welcome today's guest, Robert, and I hope I pronounced your last name right. Koyich?
Koyich.
Koyich. All
Don't
right.
be coy and itch like a scratch.
Oh, great. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Nancy. How are you today?
I'm doing good. Like I said, it's hot, but I'm surviving. I haven't melted yet.
Oh, no, I like the sign that you have behind you. It's fantastic. It's wonderful.
Thank you so much. Thanks. So now let's talk about you being an author. Talk about your books.
What would you like to know?
Well, yeah. Well, what your books are.
I brought copies. So these are the compilation ones. These are the main ones.
Okay.
Titles are Fragments of Intent, The Sands Yesterday, Shards of My Soul, Mosaic Miracles, and The Waters of Life. They're all those are 3-part books. I write the fountains are called, the series is called The Fountains, but I write 1, 2, 3 bundle, 1, 2, 3 bundle. So I'm working on 16 and 17 now, and it started wanting to meet Natalie Imbruglia, famous singer. Fell for her like decades ago. Started to write a book, wanted to write a book from her perspective to prove to her that I knew her well enough that she'd initiate a meeting. Went way off track in the second chapter from other people, then started talking about my stuff and babbling onwards. And finished that first book, Finding Natalie, and then that bundled with Searching for Tomorrow, then From the Valley to the Fountain, and the fountains have kind of carried on from there. So the first 3 books are only available in Fragments of Intent. That's only public available, but all the other books are individual on Amazon, plus the compilations.
Okay. So explain to me, like they're not fiction, right?
No, they're nonfiction. They're kind of like a sequence, almost not quite a journal. I'm not reporting my day to day. I have another book projects where I write like daily journal entries, and then I share the journal for like 2020, 2021 and onwards. But it's kind of like just open-ended thoughts. It's like stream of consciousness in some regards. And the giving programs that I started also sprouted in about Fountain 4, 5, 6 and the Sands Yesterday. And that's when I started about Providing Points, Chilliwack Housing Providers. And those 2 branches are both of the Giving Group. The Giving Group is the legal name for the company.
Okay.
And we submitted our application on May 10th this year to be a registered charity so we can get tax receipts. Yet we've yet to be approved.
Very good.
Kind of glad there, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And now tell me about your creative connections.
Oh, Creative Connectors. That was a fantastic idea, but it's not done so well. The concept of Creative Connectors is once a week on Thursdays at about, I think it's 6 p.m. we meet on Thursdays, Pacific Standard Time, our time, like Chilliwack time. And it's an open room. It's pretty well for anybody to gather that wants to gather with other creative people, kind people, good people, decent people. And we've not really had big turnouts. We had about 3 or 4 people for the first 2 or 3 meetings, and then it turned into myself and a gal named Aldise. Aldise is, she's kind of flown away to the wind. She was one of those seasonal friends that's around for like the spring season, and then she kind of went off. She lives in Boston. But her and I talked for probably about 7 or 8 weeks with barely any other people showing up. Like there was her and myself and another, and then her and myself and another for another meeting. But the concept of Creative Connectors is to gather, and like ideally it'd be nice to have like 5 or 10 people, just open conversation, sharing our creation, sharing our ideas, giving counsel, giving support, giving feedback. And that was the vision I saw for Creative Connectors, is a gathering point for people that create things to meet and interact.
Now, I do like the fact that you're a dreamer.
Yeah.
Yeah, so tell me about what that means to you.
Oh, geez. Brings it back to the fountains in some regards to books, because I've written about a lot of my hopes, goals, wishes, and dreams in the books. But to market a book by saying, do you want to know my hopes, goals, wishes, and dreams? Read this book. That's not very marketable unless somebody knows who I am or is interested in it, or stumbles upon it as a recommendation. But the fountains of fantasy, the 4th group of 3, like the 3 fountains, when I was writing the the second three fountains, I had the idea of giving and sharing, and I started the idea of sharing grocery carts locally. And then in the next three fountains, fountains of fortitude, shards of my soul, I started thinking about the providing point, the grocery card program. And so I started sharing the concept. It came from an idea from one friend who joined a Creative Connectors meeting, not from Creative Connectors. They told me this like years ago. And the concept was, what if we could gather $5 a month from everybody in Chilliwack? What could we do? And we could literally solve homelessness. Like, it's a $5 idea, but we can't expect 100% compliance generally. You can't expect everybody to chip in $5 a month. But in the Fountains of Fortitude, in Shards of My Soul, I wrote a fountain book that shared the concept and the vision of providing points, which is what could we do if everybody did? And then it expanded even further. And then the next three fountains were the Fountains of Fantasy, where I started thinking about housing more so, like the premise of not just sharing grocery cards, but covering housing and building homes for people. And I wrote about that in Mosaic Miracles. And it's been like kind of an obsessive weird thing, because I have like massive vision and huge, I'm not sure if I have huge aspirations, but I have huge vision. Yeah. And then the work to get through that, and realizing that I can't do it on my own. Like, one kid in his book is not going to solve, like, global issues. Right. But it can ally hearts, and it can gather people who care enough to actually provide for people that need the support.
Yeah,
like,
sure.
This line up here, you can't see it very clearly on the screen as far as more, but this is one of my wishes and dreams. That's one of the three vision boards that I made. And the concept is 100,000 people housed, covering their rent, 250,000 providing point providers, and sharing $10,350 a month grocery cards.
Right.
But that's not very rational, considering we're only sharing about like $25, $15 a month cards right now. So it's a long ways from $350 a month for one person, let alone everybody.
Yeah.
Not everybody, but 10,000 people.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It's really tough. I mean, it's not as easy as it sounds to help people, right?
No, it isn't. And especially to gather people in line with working for the similar cause, working together in the giving group.
Yeah, for sure. Well, what the things you've talked about, like, is any of that for you provide any kind of an income? Like, I'm just trying to understand how you survive financially.
Oh, my personal finances. My personal finances, I gain nothing from the giving group. I'm not paid or anything for that.
Yeah. With
my books, I've earned about, in the past 3-4 years, only about $400 or $500 royalties. And I share 51% of the 3-part books and 100% of the individual books. I landscape. I work landscaping as a job. I'm not so fond of needing a job or having to have a job, but it facilitates another couple $100 a month.
Right.
I am on PWD, disability income, because of psychosis and schizophrenia and all sorts of crazy stuff that happened from doing too many drugs. I fried my brain really badly, and I've come a long ways, but I still have issues, and take my meds and maintain that some sort of sanity stays around. I have a bit of parental support.
Yeah.
And I also want to buy and sell more magic cards. And I'm also interested in cryptocurrencies, but not to harvest yields, but rather to gather enough Ethereum that I'd be able to host a mining node. I'd like to be able to do that in the future.
Wow. Okay, let's back up a little bit about your your mental health. Explain to me again. Like, you have what are all your symptoms?
My diagnosis is paranoid delusional schizophrenic, but it was later shifted to undifferentiated schizophrenia, or sometimes I don't know where the boundary of me and another is. I have mental health issues at work where I turn into two channels where I kind of like, it's not very, I'll share anyways. I'll sometimes get reactive and flustered and freak out, and then I'll curse or I'll cuss. And then a second layer of myself or somebody else, I don't know if it is somebody else or not, will then swear at that swearing, and then it turns into two channels arguing and yelling at each other.
Yeah.
And usually it results in about like 5 or 6 bounce backs and me saying, F off, go away, and then finally a bit of peace. But that's issues with landscaping, but my boss understands that and accepts it and works with me.
Yeah.
So I'm very, very, very glad and grateful for the boss that I have. He's been exceptionally forgiving. And mental health goes back to like first diagnosed in 1998, and I've been taking meds pretty well since then.
I find it fascinating, because we hear a lot about people who have any kind of a mental health issue are not treated very well often, by the general public, just the way that people behave towards somebody, right? Because they don't always know that, like, a lot of times they just assume that's a drug addict. And, and I think people are judgmental quite often. And that's, I'm so glad to hear that you have that you're able to work and that have a boss that understands your situation. Like, I know I live in downtown Chilliwack, and there's a man who often he's walking around the street and he's cursing and dropping the F-bomb, and he doesn't do it directly to anybody. He just yells and constantly doing these things, and people make, oh my goodness, I hear people make these derogatory comments, but I think you can't do that. You don't know what the issue is.
Yeah.
So do you have any plans for the future about whether it's writings or any more of the creative connector part? What do you think?
I have hopes, goals, and dreams, but what will actually happen, I don't know. So obviously, some of the constants is I'll keep reloading the grocery cards and providing the $15 a month that we're providing right now for the 25 people. I'll keep on writing. I'm working on 16 and 17. That's a continual process, just evolving and progressing forward. I am landscaping now. I don't know for how long. I don't want to forecast that I'll be there for like 5 years. That doesn't feel so good in my heart. And ideal situation would be able to sell enough books that I'd be able to finance my own life on my authorship earnings compared to having to work manual labor, but still give like maybe 1 or 2 days a week to my boss just because, appreciation. He's helped me out for the past 2-3 years.
Yeah.
Other goals. I think about some of my trading goals. Like Magic the Gathering is a key thing, trading card game. And so that's something that I started a process gathering one of the sets. So card by card, gather that. I mentioned the Ethereum node earlier in the future, so that'd be gather enough Ethereum that it'd be able to host a node, but that's like a 3 or 4 year goal probably. I'm not planning on moving anywhere yet because there's no reason to move, and I'm also quite happy where I am for the most part. For long goals, there's a house that I want to design and build.
Nice.
So part of the premise is also how to gather enough resources to be able to pay for the home, and also the steps of getting the designs made, etc.
Right.
I love to find a gal and settle down and like get married and all that type of stuff. That's a nice kind thing.
Yeah.
But like what I can actually forecast happening, I'll keep the giving group open and operational as long as I'm around. I'll keep on working on the books and continuously do what I can do, like day by day, stitch by stitch.
For sure. Now, if somebody wanted to join any of your charitable things, or like the grocery card or whatever like that, how would they go about doing that?
There are 2 gathering pages. Both of them are on Patreon. Patreon is a creator gathering website. So I have 2 Patreon pages. One of them is www.patreon.com, patreon.com. And then it's either / the giving group for the grocery cards or / housing providers for the grocery or for the rental support.
Right. Okay, I hope you get some response. That'd be,
Yeah, it'd be fantastic.
Yeah, for sure, because this will go up on YouTube and Twitter and Tumblr and all those places, right? So I really do hope you get a little bit of response from there. Yeah, so I just want to delve into your personal history a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
Have you always lived in Chilliwack?
No, moved to Chilliwack in 2002. I was in Vancouver before then. Kind of got evicted from Vancouver. And landed in a group home in Chilliwack in 2002. Lived in a group home for about 2.5 years. Moved out into my own apartment near the hospital. Was there for about 2.5. Was working a job at an electrical warehouse, which helped finance me the beginning of my home where I live now. And then I've been living in the same place where I am now since 2007. And so it's been about 14 years in this place, which is enough to clear 2 bankruptcies. But I've only had one.
I just have to say, you're the first person I ever met who was evicted from Vancouver.
Well, yeah, that's kind of I've explained it like I got spit out like a cherry pit, landed here, and then started to grow.
Marvelous. That's marvelous. I'm just trying to think about, there is a group called Happy Friends. Did you talk about that already?
The group, Happy Friends. Yeah, that gal named Jackie Yu is one who leads Happy Friends. Both Happy Friends and Creative Connectors, you can find them by searching on Facebook. We both have Facebook groups. And Happy Friends, HPPI, and then Friends. That's a fantastic group. They have open meetings that are like public. Anybody can join via Zoom about once or twice a month. There's also a core group that meets every Friday. The events are Friday at 1 p.m. in the afternoon. I don't know. There's some pretty rad people in that group. Like Jackie's fantastic. Teresa's awesome. Don't forget about Marty. He's amazing and kind and cool. Some of the other people have shown up, but like Glenn, Emily, Gemma was there for a while, but she's been too busy doing her things. Happy.
Well, what is the premise of the group?
Oh, it's recently there's been for the past 3 months, once a month they've had like a main session. So the first session was Let's Talk Money, Honey. And so about 3 or 4 or 5 people gave presentations about money. We went through a meditation at the beginning, meditation at the close. Talked about cryptocurrencies, and that one I had done that. And then Marty talked about finances also. Then the next month it was about relationships and love languages. We talked about that. There's also a spirituality one about a month ago. And one of the more recent open ones is My Backyard, which is whoever's in the group gets to present what their city or town is like. So in the future, I'll be presenting My Backyard about Chilliwack and showing that with the Happy Friends group. We're kind of international. Jackie's in London. Marty's in Niagara, in like Niagara Falls area. Joe, forgot about Joe. He's in Minnesota. Gemma, she's in Ireland. Don't forget about Royanne. She's amazing, kind and cool. Teresa Martin's in LA, like just awesome people. And Teresa did really, really good with her book launch. She made a book launch. She did the right thing about hyping it up. I don't hype my books very well, but she ended up like selling out of all of her copies and put it on Amazon and got to 131 on the poetry. Hers is a book of poetry and prose.
Right.
Hers is called Fly With Me. She's a pretty amazing gal. She works as a nurse on the front lines of the COVID type stuff. So.
Right. Wow. That's also fascinating. I'm just sort of fascinated. I want to hear more now, but I don't know what questions to ask you right now. Well, I think we're just about out of time.
Oh, okay. Very well.
Yeah, just stay on camera while I just say goodbye to the audience, okay?
Okay, sure, Nancy. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I really hope you contact the website that we put out for you there that Robert talked about, and check into all of this stuff because it really is fascinating. And I hope you enjoyed meeting him as I did. Take care, everybody. Hope to see you next time. Until then, everyone, peace out. I'm going to find that.
A sense of community, Chilliwack's a place to be. A sense of community where you're free. Rolling through the mountains, rolling through the valley, rolling through paradise with me. It's multicultural, you're sure to see it all. Chilliwack's the place to be, you'll see. Come party in the park, go dancing after dark. Chilliwack's the place to be, you'll see.